What's going on, crypto people? Happy freaking Talk That Talk Thursday to each and every one of you. Speaking of Talk That Talk, Austin King, CEO of OMNI Labs. Yeah, interesting conversation with that guy last night. Vet hosted a space or spaces, I guess, with this guy. And yeah, I was prepared. I was telling Miss CryptoCeej, I was prepared to go on it, again, go in on him a little bit. I'm like, what's up with all these posts, man? Who are you? Who are you? From where art thou? Making these posts about XRP, the XRP ledger, with these promises, expectations of what can happen, talking a lot, talking Ripple up, giving Ripple some flowers in the big time way. Who are you, dude? But I got to tell you, after the introduction of this guy, I said, okay, you know how we do. I was like, okay, Austin, interesting background, this Austin King dude. Yeah, so we stayed on that spaces for a bit. Gosh, it was over an hour and a half. And I actually did get on and ask a question or two, which was interesting to say the least. He handled himself really well, and interesting background. I'm going to share that post. I'm going to share the spaces with you guys and kind of go over that. I think it'll be eye-opening, like a breath of fresh air, eye-opening from this guy. Seems pretty smart. Got the entrepreneur thing, we like that about him as well. So we're going to get into that, talk a little bit of that. I don't know. I mean, it's great to see that the RLUSD is going to kind of come on the AMM in a way. They got to get that clawback feature up and running. We'll see. I did. I tagged David Schwartz and Jack McDonald's post about this RLUSD reaching 100 million. I'm like, when liquidity incentive event? That's what I want to know. When is that going to happen? So listen, we're going to get into the spaces with Austin King from OMNI Labs. You're going to really, really enjoy that, I believe. You're going to really, really enjoy it. I'm going to refresh CoinGecko so we can go over the numbers. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Now, look, I'm not a big T-bills, treasuries, tokenization of mortgage guy. I'm not that. I'm not that guy. But I think what Omni's looking to do is going to be fantabulous, and looking forward to seeing what exactly is going to happen when we begin to get the TVL and volume on the XRPL. Austin has some interesting little quotes that I wrote them down. Tokenization Hub was one of them. The XRPL as the tokenization hub. I think it's important to that's a big deal. That can be a big deal. So we're gonna see. But I'm gonna let you hear from Austin himself. I don't want to do that myself. I want you guys to hear from Austin himself. We're gonna get into that, and I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna enjoy it. Welcome to the live stream. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in. That'd be super, super cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. A little different time for the stream than I normally do. But I did want to share this because I want to get two streams in today. So I'm going to start a little early with this one because I want to do a stream after we see XRP slant RLUSD on the XRPL. I want to see what that's going to look like. I want to look at the TVL and these liquidity pools. I want to see what that's going to, I want to see, right? Because I want to take advantage. Obviously, I want to participate with that and help some people figure that kind of stuff out as well. Because, we do DeFi up in here in these streets. That's what we do. What's going on, Pookie Pookie? How are you? How are you, my friend? Appreciate you checking in. Hey, Colin Hughes. Colin Hughes was first in the building this morning. Appreciate you guys being here. You got that word on the street, the XRPRLUSD, the Ripple dollar. Looks like it's going to hop on that XRPL and some liquidity pools, or the ability to create some liquidity pools. I want to see what Ripple X has to say about that. Like, guys starting a liquidity pool? What's going on? What's going on? Can't be coming up with a 10,000 and TVL liquidity pairing with XRP and the Ripple dollar. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it, fam. So we'll see. We'll see how that is going to go for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the stream. I'm gonna let a couple of my people hop on and we're gonna go over the numbers. Pookie Pookie says Hugo recommended we switch to hardware wallet. Switch to a hardware wallet as opposed to what? Like, what do you mean? As opposed to what? As opposed to a software wallet like Xamarin? You know, Ledger's got some, interesting challenges on into itself. So does Trezor. So does AliPal. It's a bunch of them. Yeah, well, we got, you got to have them. I think you got to have them all. Split that stuff up. Split them up. Split them up. Tangent might be the way to go. I gotta tell you, that Tangent wallet. We don't have Tangent. Well, we do. We have an old version of Tangent. And Tangent wallet might be the way to go, Pookie Pookie. That might be the way to go. But we all know we should have a hardware wallet, right? We all know that, right? We all know that. So, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. That would be super, again, super, super cool if you guys could do that. Promising, very, very promising spaces last night with Vet hosting. And he had Austin King, the CEO of OMNI Labs on. And he's just shared some really, really, I think, interesting insight. I think if you hold XRP, you're going to be really, really excited about this space. I think if you understand the prowess of the XRPL and the fact that Ripple pivoted about 2 years, 2.5 years ago, somewhere around that range, and pivoted its focus, not all of its focus, but a percentage of its focus onto the XRPL with RWAs and tokenization, probably more specifically. That was a big pivot because they were focusing more on chain as opposed to off chain, chasing banks and payments. Just understand that. So I think that is pretty, pretty cool. And it's going to take a minute or so for things to come to fruition. Just understand that. So we only got this cycle. We don't have next year's cycle yet. So how do you prepare for this cycle with the digital asset XRP? We'll get into that. And I think one of the better ways is in this liquidity pool, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of that XRP, understanding you're hedging. Yeah, you got to understand the difference between opportunity cost and impermanent loss. People keep getting hung up with impermanent loss like they don't get it, right? Portfolio management is important. You got to understand that as well, right? And you got to be able to see long term. If you don't get being in an LP or liquidity pair pool for 6 to 12 months or longer, if you don't understand that, don't get in the pool because you don't understand, right? You don't understand. So don't get into that thing, right? So just understand that for sure. And don't sleep on flares, liquidity pools on Spark Deck's my favorite. Don't sleep on that. My gosh. You got it, right? A definition of vision is seeing it before the masses see it, right? It's important. What's going on, Property Rich? How are you, bro? All right, let's go over these numbers because I really want to get into this dude, Austin King. Share, that's fair. Let's go over to CoinGecko. I just refreshed that, Property Rich, so it's all good. So according to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is up nearly 2%. It's at 3.73 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is about 56% or so. Bitcoin is trading at $105,000 again. On the 30-day, Bitcoin is up 12%. Ethereum is trading at $3,200 again. And on the 30-day, Ethereum is trading at is down 2.5%. Austin King, by the way, has some interesting stuff to say about Ethereum. I was gonna hop on there. I should have just reached out to Jungle Inc. Dude, you got to listen to Austin King here real quick. I share with Jungle, I share with them that we exited months ago out of our Ethereum into Solana because Ethereum, EF, Vitalik, they all seem to be rudderless, no vision, no focus. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they're going, and they don't know how to get there, right? That's challenging, right? It's just that's a little challenging. So, all right. So XRP is trading at $3.11. On the 30-day, XRP is still up nearly 50%. How about that? Solana is trading at $240 again. Solana's up 23% on the 30-day, 23%. Nothing to sneeze at. The Dogecoin is trading at 33 cents on the 30-day. It's up 5%. And so we is trading at $4.11. So we is down 2% on the 30-day. I still have not made a hash graph, a Hedera HBAR transaction or Chainlink. I only increased my undo position. Took some Bitcoin, increased the undo positions, trading at $1.58. It's up 16.5% on the 30-day. So didn't make it. I'm torn. I don't want to do XLM again. You know, we lost all our XRP and our XLM Celsius. I don't want to do XLM again. I don't know. From listening to some, watching some posts and listening to some video with Hedera, it feels like Hedera, I don't know, is kind of in the same fork in the road that the XRPL was about 2 years ago. Just kind of realizing this focus on enterprise and the way that they're focusing on enterprise is not the way that they need to do more stuff towards kind of like retail, more on chain. Instead of coming up with all these enterprise solutions. But I was listening to the CEO of the HBAR Foundation. Yeah. So in any case, you got to have direction. You got to have great leadership for sure. And so I don't know. It's probably safer with Chainlink because they do know who they are and they do know where they're going and they do know how they're going to get there. And like, if you have that, you don't have to be the best, right? You don't have to be the best. So anyway, I'm still trying to figure, I got to hurry up before Chainlink gets to $25 again. In any case, I don't know why I'm thinking out loud, but there that is. That's the market, fam. And it is doing what the freaking market does. What's going on with these exchange tokens? BitGet killing the game. We got Gate token here. 3 billion in market cap. Interesting stuff to say the least. Radium token is doing well as well. All right, so that's the market, fam. It's doing what it does. Let me welcome some more people to the stream if we got any. And I'm gonna get into this spaces with Austin King that held. I thought it was awesome. I really did. Property Rich says, so now you're back to being an XRP lover. Do you love DI for being? I never stopped being an XRP lover, Property Rich. Rick Cisneros is in the bill. What's going on, my friend? Rick says Austin King came out of nowhere, but he has good ideas and used to work at Ripple. Yeah, I'm going to share that. It was interesting hearing him talk. Rick Cisneros says, CJ, Austin King's OMNI coin. Interesting. I heard it is on Coinbase. Yeah, that is interesting. That is interesting for sure. FLR, yeah. So yeah, the interesting thing is this Hugo and his hardware wallet thing. It's interesting he's bringing that up. I mean, that's been the thing in the digital asset space for forever, having a hardware wallet. No, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. Appreciate that. Michael Angelos, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you checking in. Let's get to the spaces. I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy this space from with Austin King. That did an awesome job as usual hosting. And he starts off with the questions, and then he brings kind of the community in. But I'm telling you, I did not know this dude's background, man. All right, here it is here. Let's play this recording. I don't want to move it because I mean that pretty much gets right into it. So I'm gonna let it play here while it's still quiet. I was gonna go in on this Austin King dude. Like, what? Where? What's up with these posts? Where is this coming from? You know how the XRP army gets, man. It's like a minute now, no talking. What's going on here? I didn't realize that was that long. I mean, I was on here from the beginning.
So I originally got involved. I started building with XRP. So I that
I took notes on you, Austin King. Took notes on you, bro. I took some notes. Took some notes. Like this dude is coming with some straight fire. I had to take notes on that. It's coming. I promise you, it's coming. We're five. What's that? 3 minutes in. Second one.
By the way, once we go first through the intro, just for those who may not know Austin, we will then open up the stage also for people to come up, ask questions, have just a conversation together. But just to get that first uninterrupted through. Welcome up, Austin. I think you should be good now.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining and making time for that. So yeah, I gave already a preview to the audience, to listeners, that we're going to dive into all things XRP Ledger, XRPL, USD, interoperability together. I'm sure a lot of people have seen your posts from you and also your team, and also how your project OMNI is working with this. I'm very, very curious. And of course, also your backstory, which is very, very interesting, historical, also the co-architects of the XRP ledger. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to listen to that as well. Maybe we can start first with that, Austin. Maybe you can give us a rundown on who you are, how long you've been in crypto, and what's your background?
Yeah. So I have been in crypto for a while now. So I originally got involved. I started building with XRP. So my first company built the Interledger network, which is a protocol that came out of Ripple. And so I started working.
He's right. Did you guys catch that? He said his company built the Interledger protocol. Way back yonder. That's the first I'm hearing such a thing. And I should have asked then, but this is the Interledger protocol, the one that was gifted to the W3C apparently, supposedly. Yeah, there was this dude, his company.
Working directly with XRP in 2017. And at this point in time, I was working across Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP because the network that we built was focused on interoperability. And that's actually the same thing that the company that I'm building today, OMNI, is focused on as well. And so it's been a journey. I built that first company. We scaled up the Interledger network to over 10 billion payments. There were points where it was doing over like 3,000 payments a second. And yeah, after kind of scaling it up to a certain point where really like when it started, it was just kind of a research-y oriented thing. And we had always had a close relationship with Ripple. Like Chris Larson was an investor in that company. Ripple actually was an investor as well, and so was the old CTO. And so we always worked closely with them. And really what happened was once we scaled it up to prod and showed like, hey, like actual companies can rely on this payment protocol. It's extremely fast, it's cross-currency. That's when Ripple decided to acquire my company so that they could bring that product in-house.
Did you hear that? A lot of people want to talk about the IOP and Ripple. Yeah, that was this dude's baby. Did you know? Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. Yeah, he says the first CTO. I would imagine that first CTO was Jeff McCaleb, before David came on board. So he was back there in those days, relations with Chris Lawson and Jed McCaleb, right? He calls him I think he keeps saying the first CTO. So it seems interesting to me. That was an interesting thing. I didn't know. I did not know that. Did you guys know that? I did not know that. This Austin King making these posts. That's some of his background, just to let you know, just for context.
And basically expand their payment product suite with what we could build. So that's how I originally got involved. It all started when I was still at Harvard studying computer science. And then, yeah, that company I built for a few years before I sold to Ripple, worked at Ripple for about a year. And then for the past 4 years, I've been building OMNI. So that's kind of like a high level overview of how I originally got involved in crypto.
That's awesome. I mean, specifically when you mentioned Interledger Protocol, which is like, I mean, for me personally, Interledger Protocol is like this big overarching goal for crypto. Like it's something long term. People were working for it for so long, right? It's like for me, it's like this is the behemoth that is being worked on, and eventually will come out and will step up the industry big time. But it seems to take a lot of work, as we see. Like we are a decade in, I think, and people are still working on it. So I'm curious why interoperability specifically was interesting to you, and Interledger Protocol. Why was that something that you personally wanted to get involved in?
Yeah, so when I first got involved, at this point in time, there were far fewer chains. It was really like Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum. Those were really the primary chains. And the thesis was, I was still in university studying computer science, and I really wanted to contribute to the space because to me, like everything that I do is just because I believe this technology can improve personal freedoms for people across the world. Kind of like full stop. That's why I do what I do every day. And so I wanted to contribute to this space. And one thing that felt very clear to me at that point in time is that these different chains had optimized for different things. XRP Ledger optimized for different things than Bitcoin did. Ethereum also optimized for different things. And so it felt clear to me that the world we were going to be living in was going to be one of at least a few blockchains. And in order to get the world on top of these blockchains, like actually running financial systems on top of them, we needed to seamlessly interoperate across them. And so that is why I started working on the Interledger protocol originally. And honestly, for those of you who have gone deeper on how Interledger worked, OMNI, in many ways, is the technical successor to Interledger. So Interledger actually, the way it got all these different networks to work is it connected layer 2 networks. So at this point in time, that's like Lightning Network and stuff, these payment channel solutions. OMNI in many ways works very similar, except it can do more than payments. That's really the cool thing about Omni. It's like this aggregation interoperability network that allows all these different like on-chain economies to work with one another, but it can do far more than payments. Interledger was super performant, but that really was like the fundamental constraint around it. And now we're clearly seeing that we're at a point in the maturation of the on-chain economy where we all know this is going to be way more than payments. We're seeing a bunch of trading and lending and derivatives happening on-chain. And so with Omni, you can do any of those economic activities in like more than just paying somebody. So that's kind of how Omni relates to my work at Interledger.
Interesting. How was your relationship to these early Ripple founders, and how did that influence, I guess, your early beginnings?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I will like I got really lucky. I think the reason that they decided to, yeah, like I've been very fortunate early in my career. I was able to receive mentorship from the old CTO of Ripple. When I was in Ripple, I co-authored another protocol with the current CTO, David Schwartz, and like having Chris Larson invest in both my first company and in Omni.
He co-authored another protocol, right? You understand? Right? So, there with the first CTO, that was Jed. I guess no one likes to say Jed's name on XRP spaces. And then, co-authored this new protocol with David Schwartz, right? So that's who this guy is. I missed the whole Harvard thing. But apparently, he's one of those smart guys that can get into Harvard as well.
And like have opportunities for mentorship there has been super impactful for me because these people are smart. They're really smart. And like Chris has built multiple companies. I think a lot of people don't know like his background, but he's taken, a company public before. He built two large scale fintech companies. So just having the opportunity to be like a younger university student who's just getting their career started and be able to have mentorship from somebody who's operating at that level, I'm honestly, I'm really, really grateful for it because it's helped me. It has really fundamentally impacted the way that I view business, and so I'm definitely really grateful for that. And honestly, it impacts a lot of like the work that I do at Omni and how I think about strategy here these days.
So when we talk about XRP, of course, an XRP ledger, it's also very close to talk also about Ripple, obviously. And what stood out to me when you were posting about this was that you were looking to clear up what Ripple's goals are. Because I feel like many, specifically outsiders, might look at it and say, what is the actual goal here? Is it cross-border payments? How close are they to that goal? What is happening? How did you maintain such a clear vision also as someone who's been also focused on your project, on Ripple's vision? And what is Ripple's vision in your view?
Yeah, I mean, so I think I definitely have kind of an unfair advantage here with the time that I've been able to spend with Ripple's leadership to understand where they want to take this. But yeah, I have found that people clearly appreciate when I like spell it out in as simple form as possible where they're trying to head on Twitter. And so where this all started, a lot of people talk about payments and they talk about Swift and the XRP community and stuff. But the other night, I dug up a video from 2013. It was Chris Larson playing with tokenized assets on the XRP ledger. And so this was various fiat currencies like wrapped Bitcoin. And so a lot of people don't really understand that like payments has been, there's kind of an annoying way to say this, of like a land and expand strategy where payments really were an opportunity to land a bunch of deals with like fintechs and banks across the world. But the goal here has always been much larger than payments. Like that really was just like a beachhead strategy of going and acquiring market share so they can like have these existing relationships with financial institutions across the world. Where they're going though is they want XRP Ledger to become the platform for tokenization across the world. Like
That's a big vision. That's a big goal. The plan for the XRPL is to be the tokenization platform for the world. That's a big goal. Right? That's why we kept saying that Ripple had shifted their focus shifted their focus. Now, remember, you could say, or many have said, well, they switched to tokenization because that was a hot thing. That was a shiny new object. But he has shared that he found the video from 2013 in which Chris Lawson was playing with and talking, the tokenization, if you will, of assets in 2013. So just understand that. Just understand that. And I don't know if that was always the goal. I think the Ripple was just trying to figure it out. And like any small fintech company, you got to be nimble. You got to be able to pivot. You got to figure out what's working, what's not working, right? And you can't be focused on one thing that's not getting the traction that you would like for too long, right? You can't, right? You can't, if you focus with that thing for too long, you might miss some other thing. If it's not getting traction, it's not getting traction. And you just cannot deny what David Schwartz said. He said, to be honest, banks are not that interested in payments. He said it, his words. He's in the room with having these conversations, right? And we all know why they're not, right? It's really, technology war more so than anything. And, if they got a golden goose over there and the legacy stuff and how it works. And if you're not willing to give them 50% of what you got is the new thing, they're not trying to switch to. You got to remember that as well.
The single place that the traditional financial system comes and tokenizes their assets to bring it into the on-chain economy. The reason that I still really care about this, even though I'm a co-founder of OMNI, is that there's actually really clear synergies between XRP and OMNI. So like I said, each chain is designed with different trade-offs. XRP Ledger was designed to be extremely fast for payments and tokenization. OMNI was designed to interoperate across these different on-chain networks. And so as XRP is tokenizing the world's assets, what we want to do at OMNI is expand those assets to the rest of the on-chain economy.
That makes sense. So from that point of view, as I said, payments as an entry and then eventually tokenizing, being the tokenization hub essentially for a lot of these large institutions. And why did that take, in general, I would say, in crypto so long? I mean, the XRP ledger does exist since 2013, 2012, 2013. Mm-hmm. And we're starting to see right now, I would say, more or less the fruits. Why does it take so long for this technology to even get that close to be to that vision?
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because while there are some things I think have been less clear to the XRP community, this one I think everybody will be painfully familiar with. Mm-hmm. It's because of the lack of regulatory clarity. This is not a technology problem. Like I was saying, you could tokenize assets on the XRP ledger since 2013. That has just always been the case. It's all had that functionality for that long. The problem here, and actually the CEO of Robinhood put out a pretty good post on this yesterday, is that the government has not made it clear how actual normal traditional financial systems can benefit from this technology. So, we have near instant settlement across these networks. We have decentralized exchanges. We have open order books. Mm-hmm. We have all these really impactful things that could massively improve the efficiency of the traditional financial system. But the way that the regulatory frameworks are set up for finance right now make a lot of assumptions. And so, for example, one of the things when you are trading securities, the platform that is facilitating the trading of those securities needs to be registered with the government. But, if we're talking about an AMM on the XRP ledger, what does that mean? Is the AMM going to register itself? Obviously, it just doesn't even make sense because these laws were designed assuming that you needed some middleman who's actually facilitating things. But we have these decentralized technologies now. And the law, the US regulatory system has just completely failed to acknowledge that there is a superior technology for facilitating financial functions across the world. And this is what has held it all back. The technology has been there, but
right. And that they failed to acknowledge it because they didn't want it, right? If they can't get 50% of the deal, They didn't want it, right? So you got to remember the likes of JP Morgan, et cetera, though these payments, these fees, that system being antiquated, being slow, the massive amount of middle people, it benefits, the big plays, the big people like JP Morgan, for example. It's going to understand that. And they weren't trying to kill the goose that lays the golden egg, right? Right. It's a superior technology was going to cut into their profits. That's the bottom line. It's going to cut into their profits. There's a reason why JP Morgan sent 15 people to the office at Ripple. And it wasn't, to have a kumbaya session, right? There was a reason why they were there, right? It was an absolute reason. They wanted to have. Then we'll let you play. We'll let you come in here and put this new technology in. And apparently Ripple was not good with that, apparently. So the technology, like Austin was saying, has been there. It's been there for a minute. And you got to understand that once you read the right books, you understand that the banking system is really the ones in charge. And the guise of Congress being in charge is just that. It's just a hoodwink, bamboozle, sleight of hand thing, right?
On the bright side, under the new U.S. administration, it's looking increasingly clear that we are going to make serious progress here. And I do think, I'm usually very conservative with my projections on where I think things are going to go. But, in the 8 years I've been building in this industry, I've never been more, honestly, I've never been more bullish. We finally have structural tailwinds that are pushing this industry forward, as opposed to structural headwinds that are trying to repress the growth of this industry. And so I do think it'll happen over a spectrum of time here, but we are going to see regulatory clarity on how traditional finance can benefit from these technologies. And I think Ripple is one of the best positioned companies in the world to benefit from that.
Speaking of best position, would you say that the XRP ledger, and maybe why, if that is the case, is also best positioned in a world that is multi-chain? We know the world is multi-chain. There are many, many chains. This is not a winner takes it all game. That in a multi-chain environment with maybe the current interoperability that is available, that the XRP ledger is also very well positioned.
Yeah. So really, my view here, it comes from just a projection of the trends that are happening right now. And I think it does not mesh with how a lot of people are seeing the world. But so my perspective here is that compute costs are going to zero. For a long time, people got very excited about Ethereum because it became deflationary at a certain point. People were paying more to execute transactions on the network than the network was emitting in ETH to secure itself. And so people got really excited about this, but we've seen that business model completely collapse on itself. I think the only thing that matters in this entire industry is order flow. And so why is XRP positioned well to thrive in a multi-chain economy? My thesis on this is because it's specialized and purpose built for functionality that positions it as a hub type chain. And so what does that mean? It has had tokenization functionality for a decade now. And on top of that, Ripple throughout that time has built up all these relationships with traditional financial companies throughout the world. And so they have the best shot at actually bringing them on chain. What that does is it effectively turns XRP Ledger into the issuance hub for traditional financial assets across the entire on-chain economy. So we have interoperability. These different chains are going to talk to one another. But what we see is just the positioning here is XRP has the ability to kind of center itself in the entire on-chain economy as the issuance portal for how traditional finance benefits from these technologies. So that's kind of fundamentally what I think the bull case is for XRP Ledger over the coming years here.
Yeah, so really, really good stuff. That's a good point for sure. Rick says, CJ, Mark and Fangru said they have signing another huge partner in the tokenization of RWA BlackRock. Tokenization of RWAs. BlackRock is one. And the next one will be announced soon. Did he post that on X, Rick? What's going on, JR? JR, how are you, my friend? Hello from Texas. Yes, sir. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in. That would be awesome. If you haven't done it yet, no worries. Just collapse the chat real quick and then go back and smash the like button. Come back and hang out with the CryptoCeej and fam. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Awesome. JR says he's doing great. It's great to hear that, JR. Appreciate you checking in today, my friend. So, did Mark post that on X, Rick? Or is that an interview? Where is that? You saying BlackRock is one? Oh, he talked about it in the community event. Got it. That thing was it was just so hard to kind of go through that stuff there. Like which portion was David on, which portion, if any, was Mayuka on? That thing was a little tough. So yeah, that's good. He said BlackRock was one. He said that BlackRock was one of the partners. All right, so I mean, we got Ondu and Ripple, right? We got that. Is that why he's saying BlackRock? Because Ondu, holds so much of the biddle, BlackRock's biddle, or is there some other kind of thing? It'd be interesting to see. But I will tell you this: if there's a BlackRock Ripple partnership announcement, BlackRock Ripple, not Ondu and Ripple, but BlackRock and Ripple, that would be interesting. So we heard about the Ondo Ripple thing. You're not talking about that, right? Okay, no, didn't mention BlackRock per se. Got it. I gotcha. Gotcha. Good. I think the Ondo Ripple thing is a big deal. I mean, I do think that's a really, 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 really big deal for sure. Ondu Finance is going to be a big player in this space. Um, I'm happy that they have a token associated with their two products, the OUSDY and the OUSG, but those are only for institutions, accredited investors, that type of deal. So, but the Ondu token, we're going to see. And we right now, Ondu maybe the token doesn't have much going on to it, but as far as utility or whatever, but that can always change, right? They can always kind of bring some other thing to the Ondu token. I would like to see Ondu in liquidity pairs on the XRPL. That, my friends, that would be awesome. If you can get Ondu onto the XRPL in liquidity pools, yeah, that would be awesome. And maybe it has to go by way of the XRPL EVM sidechain. But I got to tell you, that would be exciting for me. For sure, get that Ondu on there in liquidity pools. That would be really, really good. Really, really good. So are you guys enjoying this thing with the co-founder of OMNI? I think the CEO of OMNI Labs. I am. It's really, really good stuff. And again, I was going to reach out to my guy, Jungo. He says the Ethereum business model kind of collapsed onto itself. He's going to talk about that more. It's a challenge right now. He says he's done in this later on in here. He talks about him doing a lot of work with EIPs for Ethereum. Like him doing the work for these EIPs for Ethereum. A lot of guys didn't know that as well in terms of his background. But his idea and his vision for the XRPL, right, being this issuance hub for financial assets, I think it's important. And I think it's significant to note that he recognizes that the partnerships and the early relationships and early partnerships are going to come to fruition, right? Those partnerships, they want someone that they can get on the phone, and they want someone that's going to allow them to play compliantly, legally, without getting themselves in trouble with KYC and AML and all that other stuff. And the challenge is these institutions, they're not trying to build that themselves. But if they can go to a place and take their financial instrument with them, and they can go to a place that covers all of that for them and checks all those boxes for them, and yet still has a number to call, that's a big deal. That's a really, real big deal, because the XRPL, that's good. The software part is good. Now let's put in the stuff that they need. That's what Ripple's been doing, making it a very compliant infrastructure chain for a reason. And if it's tokenization, it's tokenization. If that's going to be the thing for them, that's what it is going to be in the beginning, you know. And it'll do FX eventually, derivatives eventually down the line, for sure. Now, again, for me, I'm a crypto person. I'm not interested in holding a T-bill or OUS, any of that stuff. Like, unless it's liquid. In other words, unless I can take it somewhere else into a liquidity pool, unless I can have it and lend it. Like, if I can't, why do I want a product or tool or an asset that's getting 5%, in crypto, like, in crypto, right? Now, I can understand if I'm outside of crypto, I'd rather have, to be honest with you, than having a T-bill, I'd rather have a dividend paying cash value policy, because now I have ownership in the company and I have different things I can do. I can lend it, right? That's a financial instrument that is recognized for lending and borrowing in the traditional financial world. I can lend and borrow against that, right? In the financial world, right? This is how banks build the things that they build. This is how car dealerships build the things that they build. They have dividend paying cash value policies, right? So I have more options there. So, just holding a T-bill on chain, can I take that T-bill somewhere else, right? What other options do I got with it other than just holding it, right? I could have a stable coin and get 20% a year on the stable coin, right? So that's the thing. So we'll see how that goes. Now, maybe the heavy hitters got all this money, they don't want to take any risk. They want to hold instruments like that. That's cool for them, but not for me, for sure. Pookie says, during the bear market, I'll be accumulating some of that OMNI. Let's take a look and see if OMNI. Let's take a look at OMNI here on CoinGecko if we can find it. Take a look at it before we get into more of this. If this is the right one. OMNI Network. $74 million market caps. Interesting. Only 10% of the circuit of total supply is circulating. That's not great numbers. All right, what we got going on here? Okay. All-time high was $53. What? So that thing launched in all-time low of 5, all-time high 53. It's 86% down from its all-time high. Oh, we got markets. Yeah, you're right. It is on Coinbase. It's on Binance. I guess it's his own chain because it doesn't have anything here. Maybe let's go to this website, see what's good. I mean, 86% down from its all-time high is pretty cool. You can stake OMNI if you have some OMNI token. That's awesome. OMNI empowers developers to access users and liquidity across all rollups without smart contract upgrades. Okay. Go multi-chain in days, not months. Okay, I get it. experience a unified Ethereum, eliminate cross-chain complexity, Ethereum unified. Omni initially supports Ethereum L1s, Arbitrum and Optimism, and Base, and plans to add additional networks in the future. Somebody from Optimism. Omni is fundamental infrastructure for a chain abstracted future. Thanks to Omni, super chain developers can access more liquidity for the applications and a wider audience. This is coming from the chief growth officer at Optimism. Interesting. Largest Binance launchpad ever. Interesting. Okay. A little bit of their roadmap here, looks like. Okay. 1 billion total cumulative value of applications utilizing Omni's mainnet functionality, says that's in progress. 4+ chain integrations, improve and optimize performance for speed and capital efficiency. Again, you got to think about this guy's background for context in terms of thinking where it can go. Got a bounty going on. Interesting. Okay. That's pretty cool. Pantera. Coinbase Ventures. Okay. Let me see something here about this roadmap. But did we just check that out? Okay, yeah, we did. What they got coming? Just some more goals here. 3 trillion. Yeah. So, okay. 3 billion. Very cool. Blog, Twitter, Discord, developers build this documentation. There's the GitHub roadmap. Declaration of Unity, and you can stake your Omni if you hold some. Let's check that staking thing out. See what's good over there, Pookie Pookie. Welcome to Genesis Staking. My test wallet is up or no? Okay, yeah, let's do that. I've got $20 on my test wallet on Ethereum. All right. Congratulations on joining Omni community. Your rewards await. Claim your staking rewards now and maximize your benefits by staking even more. I'm wondering if Omni is in some liquidity pool somewhere. What was the market here real quick? Were they all exchanges? Yeah, those are all exchanges. Yeah, those are all exchanges there. All right, where's Omni again? Staking. Claim your rewards, access your staking rewards through our portal. Stake more, increase your stake to boost. Okay. Let's see here. Just want to see what this looks like. It's, I'm trying to connect the wallet, bro. All right, let's do this. %6 and transaction fee. That feels like an Ethereum thing going on there. There it is. Nearly 13,000 people are staking this token. That is quite a bit. It's 6% APR. Okay. I don't know why it'd be $6. to stake, but 300,000 in rewards thus far. Okay, interesting. Not too snabby, not too shabby. Brooklyn Harbaugh's in the building. What's going on, my friend? What's up, bro? Did you get my email, by the way, on my guys? Did you get that? Omni is not having a bear market, says Brooklyn Harbaugh. Rick says, CJ, I might buy the Omni coin. Not financial advice. It's just Rick sharing his thoughts, okay? But his vision sounds interesting. It does. Omni from Brooklyn Harbor says, Omni is not. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you didn't get a chance to do it on the way in, no worries. Just collapse the chat real quick. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't an email. It was, I messaged you in the Patreon group. Did you get that? Have you checked out my guys? Do me a favor. If you didn't hit the like button on the way in, no worries. Just collapse the chat real quick. Go smash the like button, then come back and hang out with the CryptoCeej and fam. And by the way, if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the CryptoCeej, do me a favor. If you have been enjoying those hangouts, we got a mad goal to get to 9,000 subs in the next couple of days. And you guys can help us get there by doing your part right now, hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. All right, so let's get back to the spaces here. Let's go.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because, you know, having also interesting and good assets on the XRP ledger, tokenizing them and starting basically bringing these high quality assets onto the XRPL. I think the first time we have seen this is with, I think you mentioned that too in your post, is RLUSD, is the beginning of it. What are your thoughts on that with RLUSD?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason, if you follow me, that you're seeing me tweet about RLUSD as much as I do. So I think Ripple is really uniquely positioned with RLUSD. And what they're doing here really is like they have all this infrastructure set up to tokenize the first. Like I think a lot of people don't think about stable coins as tokenized assets, but that's what it is. Like you know, people say RWAs and terms like that. But stablecoins really are the first like product market fit RWA that we've seen. It's a fiat currency that's tokenized on chain. And so given how much involvement Ripple has had with the payments industry at large, I think at one point they were issuing like 20% of all the new USDC. So like I said, the only thing that matters is order flow. Like they are already kind of in the center, or like they're handling the pipes through which this capital is being processed today. So I think some people have asked like, oh, like why are they doing this now? There's already USDC and Tether. But if you think about the positioning of USDC and Tether, I think Tether has deeply liquid crypto markets. I think USDC is trusted more by like Westerners, but I don't think that's a competitive advantage that it has over RLUSD. I think the competitive advantage that RLUSD has is the existing network of traditional financial institutions that are using Ripple's products. And so it kind of has this like launchpad opportunity that these other stable coins do not. And this, people understand this. So for example, we've been talking about how there's an opportunity to expand RLUSD across these different platforms. And we have a bunch of DeFi teams hitting us up asking like, hey, like, when is this going live? How can we use this? Like how?
He had a bunch of DeFi, and I asked him to clarify that later on in his spaces, but a bunch of DeFi platforms are anxiously awaiting access to the Ripple dollar stablecoin. He said DeFi platforms are doing that. That's massively, massively important for sure, because the DeFi platforms will grow its ecosystem, right? And so that liquidity from the Ripple dollar They could be really, really big. And if you get DeFi platforms, and if Ripple X does a liquidity incentive event across multiple platforms with the Ripple dollar and XRP, I'm telling you that that's going to be big. You're going to go up and to the right for sure on the network adoption curve. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. And so again, I don't know if that's going to be by way of these DeFi platforms will have to go by way of the XRPL EVM sidechain. Most likely that's what it's going to be, but having that volume and seeing the Ripple dollar, go up the scale and begin to compete with USDC is going to be a really, really big deal. Now, I got this little interesting response to something, and this person said something that I found to be fascinating. Um, where is it? Let me find it. All right, so here it is here, right? And I think I'm responding to Austin King. I was responding to Austin. I said, very nice write-up. However, the trillions of dollars you state won't necessarily create demand for the asset XRP, correct? Now, in this spaces, I asked the same thing. I asked this question as well in the space, and he answered that with some very fascinating stuff. He says, this person here says, and again, we'll have to verify this, but he said, you need XRP to lock up RLUSD. Check out their product details for more clarification. But in short, it's bullish. Think about Tether's growth and why. Now understand that a stablecoin, the Ripple dollar, locking up US bonds and T-notes like Tether does, and then realize Ripple is US based, and then understand this tokenization. And when you have your head around the whole picture, bullish. Says you are not bullish enough. So this is interesting. And I just said, you need XRP to lock up RLUSD. We'll see if it responds. But he said, check out their product details for more clarification. You think we can find that? Check out their product details for more clarification. So I'm not sure if we can find that. What's going on, Crawbillies? I said, what did I miss, CJ? You making us rich? Yeah, it's free to join Brooklyn Harbor, just so you know. That particular course is free. That's where I started. It's really good. Uh, Brooklyn Harbor says, yes, you do need to XRP to lock up. I don't know if he means lock up to buy RLUSD. I mean, I get that, but is he saying, I don't know, the lockup thing is making me interested. Anyway, CJ says, Rick, remember XLS 66 amendment borrowing and lending is not up for voting yet, which means they're still testing it. That's correct. Yep, it's not up for voting yet. Yep, they're still kind of building it out, right? But I would like to. I guess I have to read up more on that because he used the phrase, "You need XRP to lock up RLUSD." So does that mean, in terms of trading, you can only use XRP? to get RLUSD, I could see that, and that would be absolutely awesome. So in any case, let's get back to this Austin here sharing.
How can we work together on this? Can we throw incentives at this to get more people using RLUSD on our platform? So
this is what the DeFi platforms were asking. How do we get access to this RLUSD? Can we come up with some incentives to get more people to use it on our platform? This is why I say on this live stream all the time, Monica Long, David Schwartz, RippleX, when liquidity incentive event? When are you going to make that happen? Now, I've given them grace in saying that the court case probably has to be done with, right? That, wherever we are, whatever phase of that madness that we're in, that probably needs to be done before they can do something. That is my guess. But let me go back here real quick. I did tag David Schwartz. We'll see if he responds. I don't know, but I tagged David Schwartz. He didn't respond. He's probably busy making sure clawbacks and stuff is working for RLUSD. But the guy, one of my favorites, Jack McDonald, I guess he kind of heads up the whole RLUSD thing, made this post here. A little over a month since the Ripple dollars launched, we've seen amazing traction hitting 100 million in the market cap, 100 million. As previously committed, we will be publishing a monthly independent attestation for Ripple dollar in compliance with the highest regulatory standards. A few points to keep in mind. Ripple dollars over reserve, as in our reserves are more than 100% of the total supply, backed by US dollar deposits, short-term US government securities. This is important to the current administration and other cash equivalents. We currently hold 6 million in reserves than the total Ripple dollar supply. Ripple strictly maintains reserves of highly liquid, low-risk assets to ensure our ability to fully meet redemptions. Okay, that's the transparency report. Okay. That's great. That's awesome. Let me see something. Hold, buy, and trade tokenized dollar on chain with the stablecoin that's held to high standard. Ripple business institution trusted. Zero hash and Flowdex. Programmable finance. So anyway, so that's good stuff there. That's not what I was looking for, but. Right.
So it's not just the fact that it's almost kind of meta. It's the fact that they have this existing network effect of financial institutions. And then downstream, people understand that. So there's a whole new wave of people who want to work with it because they know that and they want to benefit from its growth as well. So that's kind of what we're seeing on the DeFi adoption side right now.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. For the audience and for the listeners, if you like, of course, you can now request and also come up and join us in the conversation, ask questions to Austin, and chat with us. It's open and people can request. We'll get people up as they request. On that front, Austin, because you mentioned also a lot about the institution side, I'm personally very curious from your point of view. Is it easier to onboard retail right now or institutions to this public decentralized technology?
It's definitely easier to onboard retail, and that's why we live in a world where people think that crypto is just for like retail gambling, because institutions have been blocked from a regulatory perspective from being able to participate in the on-chain economy.
That makes a lot of sense. And how is the attitude from institutions towards this technology? Are they more risk averse? Are they more critical towards it, or do you see more basically, hey, when can we finally start using it? Like basically waiting at the gates, essentially. Is that what you feel?
Yeah, I feel almost like we're at this like insane reversal stage where I mean, Larry Fink honestly is such a good example of this. So Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, if you look back at videos from like a year or two ago, he was like, crypto's just for money laundering. Like this is not serious stuff. And now he is the biggest bull on tokenization. He's constantly showing up in the news on like tokenization, because he understands like he's kind of gotten past the like, oh, okay, this is not just like degen speculation on meme coins. What we actually have here is shared ledgers that have near instant settlement, and he understands how that can impact his business and all of his business's customers. And so I think now that we are stepping out of this world where crypto is kind of like looked down upon, clearly we have some of the world's largest players in the traditional financial system understanding how big of an impact this is going to make on their business. And some of them are being like very aggressive with their plans to move forward with it.
I mean, it was beautiful that you mentioned Larry Fink, because whenever I hear his recent interviews, it's like he wants it now. Like he says, "We want tokenization now."
He does, man. Like it's definitely the case. And I mean, just think about it. Like how much money does BlackRock handle? Like trillions. Like it's
Right.
an unbelievable amount of capital. And so to him, like he has to deal with consistent like multi-day delays on transfers, and like things get botched in the process of that. It's extremely manual. And so it's almost like he's running this massive empire with like a bunch of without computers. Honestly, like it's like people filing paperwork with one another, and that's why all the time that these assets are getting moved around, it takes multiple days. And so he sees the opportunity. He's like, wait a minute, you're telling me I can just have a network do all this nearly instantly for me? And that is going to make BlackRock an unbelievable amount of money. So yeah, like there's a very clear economic reason why he has become such a tokenization bull.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have a couple hands, and we have Stone actually up here too. Stone, please just jump in. Have a good.
Hey, Vet, thanks for letting me up. Shellfish, Death Rider, always good to see you. Death Ranger, sorry. Austin King, wow. I don't even know where to start, how impressed I am by you. But could you just break it down to like a fifth grade level? The difference that OMNI is going to be providing as another Axler or another like a cross-chain fork or spoke. How's OMNI doing it different?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Very kind words, man. And I appreciate you coming up to ask this question. Yeah, so fifth grade level, I would say what we are pretty ruthlessly focused on right now is the tokenization opportunity. And so the moves that you're seeing us make on the RLUSD front, our goal is like there are fundamental blockers to expanding RWAs, one, on-chain at all, and then two, throughout the on-chain economy.
Shit.
We are focused on is getting rid of all those blockers. And anytime that XRP tokenizes an asset, Omni is there to distribute it across the on-chain economy. That is
every time the XRP tokenizes an asset, Omni is there to spread that across the different networks. That's big. That's certainly big for Omni without question, but that's big. And there's a reason that he's tapping into the XRPL and tokenization. He knows the prowess. He understands the prowess of this XRPL. He understands it. He's not going to say that Ripple or the XRPL is uniquely positioned if it isn't, in his view, right? He knows. And again, in this space, he talks about working on Ethereum, working on EIPs for Ethereum. So this is a guy who knows, who's been in there building, coding, whatever. So when he speaks to the ills of Ethereum, he knows from whence he comes from. When he speaks to the prowess of the XRPL, in my view, he knows from whence he speaks of, because he's been there. So and he just understands the prowess of the XRPL, coupled with the relationships and the partnerships that Ripple, the company, Ripple Labs, has established. He understands the infrastructure and the piping. Remember that back in the day that has been laid and set. And he can see it is all coming together for a win-win-win, certainly for Ripple Labs, but also for the XRPL, which for us as XRP holders is most important, right? So there's that. I'm trying to get to this part where he mentions some, because both myself and Vet, I think after I asked my second question, Vet, he chimed in on that as well, because I posted and I've said on live streams, just because institutions are coming and bringing billions and hundreds of millions and billions and trillions, that doesn't necessarily equate to more demand for the native asset XRP. And he used a phrase, on that spaces. Let me see, do I have it? He used this very unique phrase that I thought was interesting, and it was essentially saying, in order to get your stuff tokenized, yeah, you're gonna need some of that XRP. Like, like in order to get into the door, I get it. You got this great thing, this great traditional financial product that you want to have tokenized on the XRPL because of the prowess of it. Yeah, but you're going to need, this XRP to kind of get there. It's just essentially what he's saying. I wish I could find this part here with this dude is not it. He asked like 400 questions, but that wasn't really it. I'm trying to find it.
Index on the value of real estate in New York City. And simultaneously, I do think that we are going to see people turning buildings into NFTs, and just, I believe it's, the United States take a stance that no, CBDCs, the United States.
Sure, I'll take our question. One comment about the CBDC. It's interesting that all these Bitcoin. Thanks for
an extremely high level of trust that is going to be managed well. So that's one. The network effect side really comes from Ripple's relationship with all these different traditional financial institutions already that they're kind of entering the arena with. RLUSD front.
It's what that lowers inflation?
I think that okay, let me make sure I answer all these questions here. So one is what's going to drive adoption of RLUSD? Like, what's the competitive advantage here? And two, what's the impact this stuff is going to have on inflation? So one, the competitive advantage, in my view, is trust and network effects. So Ripple stablecoin is regulated by the New York Department of Financial Services.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extremely high standard. They have monthly audits. There's an extremely high level of trust that it's going to be managed well. So that's one. The network effect side really comes from Ripple's relationship with all these different traditional financial institutions.
It makes sense. Let me see if I can find where I come on here.
Yeah, very, very good question, Ceej. And
this is similar to for like we've been talking about, these kind of like making it easy to access the rest of the on-chain economy.
At the market cap of XRP,
have like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, like all these new types of assets that are happening. But in a weird enough way, I do think that the U.S. government embracing blockchain technologies could help with inflation.
Thank you, Austin. I appreciate it.
great question. Yeah, great question, persistent. Let's go with CryptoCeej. Welcome up, man.
hey, Vet, how are you, brother? I appreciate you holding the spaces. Can you guys hear me okay? This is an awesome space.
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Austin, I was going to come up here and give you a sort of a relatively hard time after reading your post.
It's okay, you still can.
No, but all your posts and stuff, I was really going to kind of grill you on your post until I found out your background. This is the first time I actually got a chance to hear your background. I did not know that. And I also did not know your views on CBDC. So you're my kind of guy. So I will tell you that for sure now. But
Right.
so tokenization I think is awesome. Institutional DeFi I think is awesome. But I'm just a true DeFi guy, right? So I'm really interested in lending and borrowing. I'm interested in participating in liquidity pools, right? Whether they're full range or concentrate liquidity pools, that's my thing. I think that's the thing that retail wants, and I think that's the thing that's going to grow the XRPL. It's kind of my personal opinion. I've heard 4 or 5 people from the community day yesterday say, 4 or 5 project builders say that the market cap of XRP and the volume or TVL, they don't match. They're not in coherence. There's not enough TVL and volume going on. And so I ask on my live streams all the time, where do you see a place for a Camino Finance that's on Solana? Do you see that on OMNI or on the XRPL? Do you see a platform like MarginFi on Solana, on OMNI or on the XRPL? Do you see that type of future for the XRP ledger?
Yeah, so I'll answer Omni quickly because that's easy. And the answer is no. Omni is a blockchain, but it's purpose built for like we've been talking about, these kind of like making it easy to access the rest of the on-chain economy. We don't care about like building up a DeFi ecosystem on Omni as a chain. Like you could do that, but like we don't really care about that because we actually want to like have the chain focus on just making it easy to access all these different financial services that are on other chains like the XRPL. So
it's kind of very, like you said, Rick, is I think it was Rick who says kind of similar to Axelar, but in his spaces, he does differentiate between the two, between Axelar and Omni.
Do I see, to answer the second part here, like, do I see the opportunity for like a more mature DeFi ecosystem on the XRP ledger? Yeah, I do. And I actually see that we have Mayuka here, who has been, I don't know if all of you have been involved.
So Mayuka apparently was on this spaces listening in. I didn't never see that her name, but apparently she was on there.
Following them, but there's posts about like I think most people here probably know about the sidechain, but XRP Ledger has a few specific functionalities today. And it's like pretty performance optimized for those things. But there's also initiatives to bring wider programmability to XRP Ledger itself. And so do I think that there is a technological path to a wider DeFi ecosystem on the XRPL? Yeah, from the current research and initiatives, yeah, it's looking that way. And then from the business side, like, do I think that there is the demand and potential for kind of like a native DeFi ecosystem there? Yes, for sure. I think especially if we kind of like follow this path forward and we start to see XRPL as like a wider tokenization hub for the rest of the on-chain economy.
So that was good to hear, and his thoughts on that. We obviously all know about the programmability movement, right? And in its phase, it's still early days with WASM. It's early days for sure. That's going to be a minute, as we like to say, before that comes to fruition. But I wanted to see what he thought they were kind of going, like, where did he kind of see the XRP headed, right? In some fashion. So because remember, the DeFi market is interested. They're interested. And again, I think initially it's going to be the XRPL EVM side chain with the stablecoin and XRP. As far as that access is concerned, these platforms will have to probably use the XRPL EVM side chain. But I want to be really on that XRPL itself. But in any case, volume is volume, TVL is TVL, and the fact that they're looking to get there is important. So let me continue here. Okay, perfect. All right, brother. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, so you're not going to roast me?
No. No. I mean, I saw a lot of validity in the post, but I just wanted to. What I was really trying to get to was how is this guy qualified to be making these posts and stuff, right? So I didn't know your background, right? So I didn't understand you were the early days of the ILP and things like that. So it's all good now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. glad I qualified to post those things.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for coming up and asking the question.
Sure, man.
100%. 100%. Yeah, very, very good question, Ceej. And, going with this, I have a question here actually from the audience and from Death Ranger. So it's, when it comes to roll-ups, what's a comparable difference between what can be done using Omni compared to something else, like let's say Arbitrum and so on?
Yeah. So with rollups, basically, the Ethereum is in a tough spot right now.
Jungle.
Effectively, it's being cannibalized by its own ecosystem. It chose the L2 scaling roadmap, but what has happened is this really cannibalized the core business model of Ethereum itself. And now it's inflationary again. And I don't think anybody can really communicate a strong vision as to how ETH1 is going to accumulate those fees again. Trust me, I've really tried to dig into this and find what a technological path is for a sustainable future of Ethereum. Anyway, zooming out though, this is similar to what I said about differentiating what we want to do with Omni compared to the potential future of the DeFi ecosystem on XRP Ledger. We don't care about, is there an EVM on Omni? Yes. So could you build DeFi protocols there? Yeah, you could. But actually what that EVM is there for is more of this middleware functionality. So Omni, the best way to explain how Omni achieves what it does, and especially when you compare it against other networks like Axelar, it actually works in a way that's very similar to how Robinhood and Citadel make it super easy for people to access the traditional financial system. So when you go to Robinhood, you don't think about any of the complexity that, if you want, let's say you want to buy $100 of Apple stock, you as a user just click the button and you say, I want to buy $100 of Apple stock. What Robinhood does is it hands that off to Citadel, who goes and handles all the complexity of actually getting that done. And then they loop back and they tell Robinhood, cool, we did it. Here's $100 of Apple stock. And Robinhood confirms to you as the user that they did that. This is really cool, except for the fact that we don't know what the Robinhood and Citadel agreement looks like. It's why is Citadel paying for the opportunity to do this? Shouldn't Robinhood be paying Citadel to do this for their users? That's not the way it works. Citadel pays Robinhood. And so there's a ton of a ton of concern around, are they screwing over users here? Omni is effectively this exact same thing, except it's an open auction. So there's not an exclusive agreement where you can only work with Citadel. A user can come and say, I want to take out a loan against this position on this, I just want to take out a loan against my XRP here. And then these third party market makers, hedge funds, et cetera, all compete in, a sub-second auction to actually fulfill that for end users. So it's open, it's transparent, and that is how it actually fulfills things there. It's really just a marketplace between what users want to do and sophisticated third parties that are really specializing in all the complexity of cross-chain stuff. That's how Omni allows people to work at a higher level of really abstraction, make things simple for people. And the foundation of that, obviously you need an interop protocol, but that's how to think about Omni compared to some of these other interoperability networks.
That's good stuff right there. It makes sense, right? So it's a marketplace for facilitating, but they at its base foundation is an interoperability chain, whereas Axelar is more just strictly an interoperability chain and doesn't necessarily have a marketplace to be able to facilitate things that people may want to do in the space. So, yeah, Brooklyn Harbor says Omni is just like Axelar. Did Ripple come out and speak on Omni? I believe there was some mention, or at least CryptoCeej did. So not necessarily so much Ripple, but I believe CryptoCeej's been talking a lot. Maybe she's done some interviews with the people from Omni as well. I can't remember, but that's kind of how I got turned on to Omni, was from CryptoCeej. So that's interesting that he said that there, right? It's an interesting vision. And again, if this is someone who's done the internet protocol, worked on another protocol with David Schwartz, the background, the technical expertise, like it's there. So let me see if I can't find my follow-up. Let's go to here. Wait.
Advantage with the institutional side. So as co-founder of Omni, am I going to do a good job bringing institutions on board the XRP ledger? No. And frankly, I don't need to, because Ripple's kind of got that game covered. And so the teams that have been hitting me and the rest of the team at Omni up a decent amount, it's all been DeFi. It's all been these like different teams of just like, okay. And it's like I said earlier, it's because they see that they have this existing network effect with TradFi companies. And so it's been a bunch of DeFi companies hitting us up, wanting to integrate RLUSD into their protocols. And then to answer the second question, it is so funny. I understand
All these things that happen on chain. How does this accrue?
Fortunately, there are very clear synergies there. But yeah, there's not going to be one chain to rule them all. They're going to specialize in different things.
That's awesome.
Can I ask another question, Vet?
Yeah, of course. Jump in, Steve.
So Austin, you mentioned that you had several projects reaching out to you about RLUSD. So this is kind of two parts question. Would you say the majority of those are DeFi projects, or are these institutional people? And the other question is, how do you believe that these institutional, traditional financial projects coming onto the XRPL, I just can't see how that equates to demand for the native asset of the XRPL?
Very good question, actually. I wanted to ask this for something similar. What's your thoughts on that?
Cool. Yeah. So Ripple has a competitive advantage with the institutional side. So as a co-founder of Omni, am I going to do a good job bringing institutions on board the XRP ledger? No. And frankly, I don't need to, because Ripple's kind of got that game covered. And so the teams that have been hitting me and the rest of the team at Omni up a decent amount, it's all been DeFi. It's all been these like different teams of just like, okay. And it, like I said earlier, it's because they see that they have this existing network effect with TradFi companies. And so it's been a bunch of DeFi companies hitting us up, wanting to integrate RLUSD into their protocols. And then to answer the second question, it is so funny. I understand where this question comes from, and it's it's clear that a lot of people have this question, because I've seen materials that Ripple has put out. There's one hilarious video on the RLUSD page of Ripple's website where it's just a short little clip of David Schwartz, and it's how is RLUSD good for the XRP ledger? Like, people clearly want to know, like, okay, cool, but like, is this gonna make me money?
Yeah, exactly.
Make my bags go up? And so, yeah, my perspective here is it's almost like you can XRP. I think a lot of people have seen it as this like deeply liquid bridge asset historically, and that is true. It is extremely liquid. There's a reason for that. Ripple has put a lot of effort into making that happen over time. But this really, it's like that is extremely helpful for, you know, in any asset. That's a very helpful property, and it's a very good foundation to build upon. But I think what we're seeing now with tokenization at large is that XRP is almost becoming more like an AWS compute credit, where it's like, in order to access this financial system, this tokenization hub, you need to spend XRP in order to do things on chain.
Did you guys catch that? XRP is like an AWS compute credit. And so in order to be able to do the things in the tokenization area on the XRPL, you're gonna kind of have to have some XRP. That's the demand that we talk about all the time, the demand for the native asset of the XRPL, which is XRP.
So from my perspective, like, that is how it's funny, because okay, disclaimer, I still own Ripple stock, but I no longer work at Ripple, so I can say things that they legally would not be able to. But like, that's my take on how they're going to pump XRP. Like, that's the strategy from my perspective as an outsider.
Yep. All right, I'm going to end there. Again, I'm going to put the link to this this spaces in the chat here for you guys, but that was the answer. That's just his personal opinion. We don't know, right? We don't know. We figured that Ripple had to have a game plan, right? To create the demand for XRP. They're not stating it. Maybe it's something they have to keep close to the chest, right? But it can't just be, oh, yeah, just pick whatever you want, come tokenize on, right? That's not making sense. It's not making sense. So for me, in addition to liquidity pools, that all these DeFi platforms are clamoring for this Ripple dollar, and obviously XRP will be paired with it. Ripple, he's just former guy, tech guy, used to be there. He's just sharing his views. I'm not saying that Ripple's doing that. I'm not saying Ripple's going to do. He's sharing what he sees is going to be the way to create demand for XRP. XRP is kind of like an AWS compute credit. In other words, in order to hop on this XRPL and tokenize some stuff and take advantage of the prowess of the XRPL, you have to have some XRP. Do you got some? You have some? Right. So that's kind of what it is. This is what I wanted to hear, for sure. And again, he's not saying that. He's a former person at Ripple. He's not saying Ripple's going to do that. I want to make sure I keep saying that. I'm going to make sure it's just how he sees Ripple can do. It's just how he sees it. He's not saying Ripple is doing it. He's just saying how he sees that's going to happen. So I want to make sure I say that enough times so people are not saying that this is what he said, Ripple said they're going to do, or any of that stuff. No, it's just his view and how he sees that could happen. So very, 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 very cool. So some people might say, yeah, right now XRP is the only way to get the RLUSD. Correct. And I get you got to have a wallet with XRP to get on XRP. I get that. I get that. But do you just need to have 10 XRP now you can go tokenize stuff? Or is it going to be some other thing? Do you understand? That's what I'm, demand. We want to increase the demand for the native asset. Like in this liquidity pool of XRP and RUSD, guess what? You got to have some XRP. You understand? Right? You got to have some XRP. So, all right, fam. So there it is. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys hanging out for me for this time. It's been over an hour and a half. It's been a really, really cool hang on a Talk That Talk Thursday. Austin King was out there talking that talk. All right. So, listen, I'm going to hop off here. Appreciate you guys. Do me a favor. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, please do so on the way out. That would be super, super cool. It helps to get the channel out to more people who Brooklyn Harbor. They don't know about this, a new financial system that's being built right underneath their noses. They don't know that these valuable assets that can help them hurdle the hurdle rate of 12% debasement of their money. They don't know. And the like button is one of the best ways to help to get the channel out, to help those people understand what is going on. And by the way, if you happen to be in that 55% or so people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the CryptoCeej, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, we're in a mad goal to 9,000 subs, fam. 9,000 by the end of January. And I know we can get there, and you can help us get there by doing your part, by hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.